to do or how to get started. And I really, we work together for many years now, and I like to place that mindset in a seller that you are now going to start to sell your home, but it becomes a house, it's a product. It's not going to be so personal anymore, and we need to declutter, we need to depersonalize, and that's where Audrey's expertise comes in. She not only helps me prepare your listing, for the buyer so we can get you the most money, but it also helps the home seller because her services go well beyond what I can bring to you as I list your home. She helps you from start to finish. Yes. You hire her services and you will have an excellent resource for decluttering, packing, selling, moving, everything. So tonight you're going to learn a lot, and I'm really looking forward to that. So Audrey, tell me, let's tell our sellers how we feel about the home staging process.
Well, the home staging process is the first thing you need to do when you're getting prepared to sell your home. We are going into the spring market. This is a perfect time to start thinking about doing that, and luck favors the prepared. So if you have any inkling of even trying to sell your home, you should meet with a realtor, preferably Gerine, and go through the process. So the first step in doing that is to bring in a home stager. So while Gerine is a fresh set of eyes, we find that when I come in, I'm even a fresher set of eyes, because people who have lived in their homes for 20, 30, 40 years are very resistant to change. So they think their homes, the way it is perfect, that everyone's going to buy it. And that's not the case. So there are some things that we need to do to get your house ready and get top dollar. Gerine and I have worked on houses that, just by giving it a coat of paint and cleaning it up, they get a way better price than they would have if they had left it alone.
I'll give an example. Just about maybe a year ago, we had a homeowner that had many years of items that they'd collected in the house. They weren't really living there full time. They were kind of back and forth between a few houses. And they had hired us to sell and organize the house. And on the basis of, let's see what this house, one of the things most sellers say is, well, I don't want to do anything, it's as is. That has a lot to be said for it, because for some little work and a little bit of an investment, we were able to bring the home sale from $750,000 to $950,000. And I think that seller felt very happy about that. And it really takes the expertise of a team of people. Not only my team and my team of professionals, but hiring and working with Audrey and her team of professionals really was what really solved the whole problem.
Yes, and it is a process for the seller and owner to get used to. So when people are very resistant, they don't want to let go of their things, but once we take them through the process, and that process, depending on what needs to be done in the house, can take a few weeks or a few months. Older seniors need more time, and if they have the luxury of that, that's great. I go around the home with them and touch everything, and we make suggestions if they're moving to a smaller space of what they should keep and what they should either donate, get rid of, or sell. And I have all those resources behind me. If there's repairs to be made in the house, I have a team of people I can bring in to make repairs. Anything that needs to do with, and also when we go through a house that needs to be downsized, it's important to know the other things that you can do to bring the house up to date if you don't want to spend a lot of money.
One of the pluses of when we start after we are working with clients, bringing in Audrey is my first step, because we're preparing each room so that it is going to look its best for the sale of the house, because we want the buyers to walk in and see really what the house has to offer. And when you have too many things, or the room is too filled with too many objects, or it's too personalized, it just isn't honed in on properly with the buyer. And they start looking for the negatives instead of the positives. And they need to see where they can put their furniture, where they can feel the room now is going to be used for their purposes. Sometimes we have to repurpose a room, but I can tell you about 95% of the time with Audrey, we have been able to use your own items in the house. So a lot of times, yes, do we need to bring in, you could bring in furniture. We have services that can do that to change a room if need be, but I found that most of the last few years, we've been able to utilize everyone's items. Sometimes we've changed rooms around and sellers were like, I can't believe I lived this way for 10 years and it looks so much better now that it's set up like this. It just has a different flow, and things such as not just furniture placement, but Audrey mentioned painting, little things that you may not even realize and you feel like you don't want to invest in. It's definitely going to be something that's going to be much more of an asset, because changing a dark color to a lighter color makes the whole place look totally different. And that's what your goal is. You want to make your home shine because now it's your house and you're selling it.
Yes, and so we've gone into people's houses who've had a piece of furniture in one area of the room, and we made a change, and they said, oh my goodness, I never thought of doing that.
Yeah.
Right? It's been there for 20 years, I never thought of that. And the room was totally transformed. And also, it starts from the outside of the house, or when you come in, it's curb appeal. So if there's dead leaves and rocks and trees and plants, you need to straighten that up. You need to also have your windows washed. The rooms that we go into need to be bright and airy, and the windows, the blinds should be open. The floor should be clean. If possible, area rugs should be taken out of the room, because it does show better sometimes, not all the time, but most of the time.
Even like the outside of the house, as Audrey said, it's very important. I mean, at this time of year, yes, there's no leaves and it could be, dull, but the virtual staging also happens, and that comes with photography. And in 2 more episodes, I'll be bringing
Updated in a long time. You are used to looking at that space every day, and you don't see what I see and Gerine sees. So when we make a recommendation, you can be sure that it's going to bring more value to your home. So there are some, stats that I'd like to read to you from the NAR 2024 or 2023 home staging report. It said that 58% of buyers' agents cited that home staging had an effect on most buyers' view of the home. So that's very important. And then the number one thing when you're getting ready to sell your home was that the agents recommend decluttering the home, and the next is cleaning the home. So these things really make it a product. You walk into a home that smells good, is fresh, there's no trash around, there's no, the pets have been taken away for the day. They're walking into a nice, calm space that's bright and airy, and all of a sudden their imaginations can go wild.
Yeah. The home buyers these days are definitely paying top dollar. Sellers, this is a seller's market. This is definitely something that that the buyers are paying more and they expect more. And if they see that your home is well cared for and it is staged and it just shows so well, they feel like they can make this their home. And that's what you're trying to capture from them. Buying a home is an emotional purchase and it's an emotional sale, and we're here to guide you along the way. It's so important for you as a seller to realize that there's so many little things that could be done and should be done to really help you. And one of the things is the home staging. And it's really, as Audrey said, it's outside, it's inside, it's how your closet, yes, people open your closets. But it's okay, you're moving. What you need to understand is you're going to be getting the house ready for sale. And when you're packing, you're throwing things away, you're decluttering, you're moving them with you, you may be selling things, you're going to be making categories of stuff for you. And it's all right to have boxes in your basement or in your garage. Everything doesn't have to be neat as a pin, it just needs to be organized so that the size of the room, the size of the basement, and or the garage is visible for them to see that they can fit the 2 or 3 cars in there. Is the basement big enough for that extra space that they need to make a rec room or something?
Yes, and with the price of the homes, if the more move-in ready it looks, the faster and better it's going to sell. Even if people want to renovate down the road, they can move in today and they can live with that space for a year or 2 until they're ready to renovate.
And not every home is, a house that's just been recently renovated or brand new. We know that you may think like, oh, I had my kitchen renovated 15 years ago. It's new. It's newer. It's not new. And it's definitely not with something that today's home buyer may want or like their taste of. It doesn't mean you need to remodel it. It means we need to set it up, stage it properly. It may need a couple of little tweaks to bring it a little more into today's mindset or liking. It doesn't mean remodel it, but a lot of times people think they need to do some changes that, changing the countertop to me is a waste of money personally, because if the cabinets are old, that's not going to do anything for it. We want to just make sure that we can try to make it look its best for what we have, and that's where your expertise comes.
Yes, and then I would say also, if you're interested in painting the house, I would stay away from any kind of very stark kind of colors, and so neutrals are the best. I'm not sure, to me, I think the grayish thing might be going away.
Yeah.
I think, but if the more neutral it is, the more whites with maybe a little beige undertone, that's very good. Or maybe a little gray undertone, but not much. But gray walls, I think, are going away.
I think they are as well, more neutral.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, do we have any questions that have come in so far at all?
No.
No? Okay. I know that, I can't read that. So, I know that we did have from my last, 2 weeks ago when I had my kickoff for this seminar series, I had told people to send me some information if they had any questions, and I did get someone ask me a question about how far in advance, Audrey, do they need to start with the staging? Like, do they think that the process is to get prepared for the home?
And so one of the things I do when I come in and I work with Gerine is I create a timeline and an action plan. So if you say, my children finish in June, I want to be out of here by June, then we would work backwards, and I would give them an action plan and a timeline, working with Gerine like we have done before in the past. And it seems to work pretty well. I build in a little bit of extra time because things don't always run smoothly, but that's the best way to do it.
I have to say, now that you brought up the action plan, that has been a lifesaver. When there's a big project, besides just home staging, and you've hired her services, from Audrey services for more, because you are moving, whether you're downsizing, moving out of state, it's a big project. And at times, just even if it's repainting or something that you needed to get ready for that home sale, working on that action plan really puts the timeline in. And it's not just, it's that timeline with her, which then incorporates us for the sale of the house, when I can bring in my next step, which is my home inspector, my home photographer. It just helps the whole process, and it really streamlines. And I have to say that it works very well.
Yeah, and with everyone's busy schedules, you don't have to worry about that. That's what we take care of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that if you have any questions, you want to DM me, you can definitely do that. You can also go to my website, and I'm sorry about this is live. This is live. You can go to my website, because in my press and media page on my website at thegerineteam.com, you'll see that tonight's event was listed there, and that there's a checklist, a box that you can click on for the checklist that Audrey has for home staging, what we do and help you go through on the home staging part of it, and also on moving, things that you need to prepare for in, packing boxes and everything like that.
Yes, and what you should do 2 to 3 months before, 6 to 8 weeks.
What are some things on there that you'd like to highlight?
So 2 to 3 months before, I do all that work really, research and get estimates. But create a moving binder to keep track of dates, receipts. 6 weeks before the move, we sign a contract with the mover. We start to declutter the house. We sort items for trash, recycling, or donation. We can have I have estate sale people. We can have an estate sale or a garage sale or an online auction to get rid of unwanted items.
That's been so helpful.
Very helpful, and it was very successful. And I have the junk pickup that will come. We can arrange for that and whenever we need to. 1 month before is, getting the moving boxes, create an inventory, which I do all of these things.
Yeah.
2 weeks before, we have a list of items to buy for your new home. So I provide you with this, you can follow this, and then I can do the work. So,
It definitely is helpful. A lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to call a donation place and they're going to come pick up and they'll do this. A lot of people don't want certain kinds of furniture. A lot of fabric furniture is not something that they'll even take as a donation. There are certain organizations that are so backlogged that it will be months before they can even come to you.
mm-hmm.
So using Audrey's services helps me help get us to the finish line quicker, because it gets you and all your items prepared and out, however it is, to be donated, sold, or moved to your new location.
Yes.
It is really teamwork, and it's a lot that I thought was definitely our step one, and it's always the step one in my process, again, for my platinum package that I offer to all my sellers. And whether you like to hire me to go over this process, you don't have to wait weeks to hear the rest of my series. I can go over this in person. You should even, if you have someone else that's a realtor that you have already hired, or someone that you work with, ask them what they do and how they work on their process, because it's important to really set the game plan up. It's not, we can move very quickly or we can take time. It really depends on the schedule, and that's why I always say to people, let's talk and put a plan of action together. Some people need to move quickly, they are being transferred, or something major has happened where they need to move, whether it's a job, or it could be something serious, an illness. We can accommodate any timeline, but if most people feel it's important to plan and make it worth the steps that we can take to give you the most success. And in today's market, again, if you want to get that medium house price point and get the highest value for your home, don't be fooled by these rates and conversation on TV. We have very low inventory, and that's supply and demand. We have been in a seller's market for 3 years. This is going into our 4th year. The buyers are still out there, homes are selling, and we are still getting multiple offers. So if you want to get top dollar, if you want to get your home ready for sale, give me a call, reach out to me, call me at 908-902-4778. You can email me, you can go to my website. All of our information is there, and we can start the process for you today. I really appreciate you coming and on to this live webinar tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. I'm going to be having my home inspector, Sean Weaver, will be here from Rest Assured Home Services. We're going to be talking about why I think it's so important to start with our home inspection. But I really appreciate you, Audrey, for coming here tonight. It was really a joy, because you and I worked very well together for the last few years, and we have seen much success. And I can tell you, we have had good success to the point where we have great reviews from these home sellers, because they are so satisfied with the top dollar they received, and it started with our home staging.
Yes, thank you, Julie.
Thank you, and thanks for coming.
Have a good night.
Good night.